What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're taking a look at the Bitcoin price chart and we're going to talk about the altcoin market. We had some interesting price action happen here so far throughout the week in the cryptocurrency market. Could it be the beginnings of a reversal in the making here for the altcoin market? I'll show you the things that I thought were interesting that I saw play out yesterday and really over the course of the last 4 days. If you've probably seen over there on Twitter, maybe you haven't, but Ethereum Classic fired up nearly 100% here just in a matter of 4 days, taking us all the way back to the prices last seen back in November of last year. So 4 months of downward price action, grueling price action, taken back in 4 days. Pretty typical behavior for the crypto market. Of course, a fair argument many would make would say, hey, it's been like this for a long time. Does it really mean anything in relation to what we've already seen before? We'll compare this to other structures we've seen in previous bull markets for the altcoin market and say, is this a common structure, even with this big 80% plus drawdown that has happened in here and the way these things are playing out right here? Are we seeing an early sign show up in here? We should all know that the altcoin market has been able to hold this 702 Fibonacci retracement level down in here and on the weekly time frame able to hold its support levels while remaining within an upward parallel channel. I often talk that I look for confluence within the market and I look for other places to give us signs before anything. Like if you're just wanting to know about the XRP price chart, right? Well, the idea for me is that, okay, well, we probably need to see the whole market taking off together. And then in order to see the whole market take off together, typically there's leaders, there's mid-pack, and then there's laggards. So trying to look for the leaders giving an early signal. And so I really want to talk about this over here with Ethereum Classic. Now, tomorrow, Linqto will be hosting a Twitter Spaces event, a roundtable for SEC versus Ripple discussion. Probably be some big names in there. Attorney Jeremy, John Deaton, Attorney Seal 1, maybe digital asset investor and digital perspectives. And I will be hanging out in there tomorrow discussing the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. I don't know if I'll really have much to chime in and say on it, but I'll be hanging out in there. As I had mentioned last week, Linqto has become a sponsor of the Blockchain Backer YouTube channel. It's exciting to bring them on board. As I mentioned last week, they had hosted an event with Attorney Jeremy, John Deaton, Attorney Seal, Linda Jones, digital asset investor and digital perspectives, where they were deep diving into the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit as well. So they've been very active in the XRP community. So if you're not following me over there on Twitter, you can follow me at bcbacker, and that SEC versus Ripple roundtable discussion will be tomorrow night, a Twitter Spaces over there hosted by Linqto. And with them being a sponsor of this channel, I do have an affiliate link to their website here in the description of my videos, where at Linqto, you can invest in private equity of companies that have yet to IPO. So for accredited investors, you have the ability to purchase stock in company prior to them going public, such as Ripple, Uphold, Dapper Labs. And really those are the best sellers right now is Ripple, Dapper Labs, Vero, Uphold, and Linqto. And you can see the big list of companies they have available over here by clicking on Invest and seeing all the companies that are available right now. Like I said, top sellers are Ripple, and Dapper, Uphold, Linqto. And they did recently add and restock more Ripple shares, Honeybook, Dapper Labs, and Carbon. So if investing in companies prior to IPO is interesting to you, check out Linqto. There's a link in the description of this video. And otherwise, I'll be over there with their roundtable discussion tomorrow night. But if you missed the price action yesterday, it was pretty exciting. Most of the market was green. Bitcoin was up. Most of the altcoin market was up. But in the end, Bitcoin's still just residing within its 70 plus day range, going on nearly 80 days in here at this point. My best guess still remains exactly how it's been, that eventually some type of price pullout happens in here, but that it's not really going to be too sustainable for too long. And that Bitcoin's more of just in kind of a really longer kind of ranging time period in here. And the thing more important on my radar is what's going to happen with the altcoin market. And while my belief is that Bitcoin likely will not hit a new all-time high in this cycle, I do believe that Total 3, the altcoin market, will set a new all-time high. But I think what we're all waiting for is really just when that kind of moment can start. And of course, my eyes are over here thinking Bitcoin's in more of a moment like this right in here, and that there's really not a whole lot of sense to make out of the day-to-day price action that's going to go on in here. But that as it goes back into a retracement in here, is where the altcoins can have their big glorious moment. So looking for signs that that could be starting, right? That's how things typically start. You have a couple of leaders and you have most of the pack, and then you have the last ones, the ones who were late to the party. And I think the thing that caught a lot of people by surprise was with Ethereum Classic breaking out. And I'm not here to sit here and promote Ethereum Classic or say go out and buy Ethereum Classic. I'm really just using this as an example because we see this structure happening in here all over the place. You see it on the majority of altcoins like Stellar Lumens, Litecoin, Dash, 0x, even Doge. It's really everywhere. But in 4 days, popped all the way back up, getting back to these like middle price ranges that really it has spent most of last year at. Now, it's too early to say if it's really just going to pause out here and turn over on itself, or this is like a 1 or 2 day pit stop before it keeps moving up a little bit higher. But for those new to crypto, when they see things like this happen, they say to themselves, hey, it's completely normal to see an asset rise up, 3,600%, but it's totally unacceptable and totally a scam if it falls 87% after that. And that's due to people not having any experience in the cryptocurrency market. They have not been through any type of bull run before. They've not been through any type of bear market before. They essentially bought into FOMO and don't understand how cycles can work in this market. But I've pointed to what has happened in previous cycles. For example, looking at Dogecoin, everybody's very familiar with what happened with it in 2021. But back in 2017's bull run, we'll take a closer look at it right in here, Dogecoin actually rose over 10,000%. Prior to that, though, prior to it reaching its actual peak at the end of 2017, early 2018, it had its first run up here of about 2,500%. And after that run up, what happened? Dogecoin ended up having an 84% crash, then working its way back up another 2,800% again for a total rise of, 10,000%. But halfway through, right, there's these 85% pullbacks that have happened in here. I've shown this on Sia Coin as well, that back in 2016 through 2017, that, Sia Coin had a 627,000% rise. But along the way, there were big, longer periods with big crashes. There's an 86% crash that took place in there, and there's another 87% crash that took place right there. Two of them on this big, massive run up here for 600 and something thousand%. Even Stellar Lumens from back in 2017 did the same thing in here, where it had a massive rise of 62,000%, but along the way, it was a massive pullback, a 88% pullback along the way. And so people who are new to crypto don't understand the volatility in it and thinking that, hey, it's okay for something to rise 10,000%, but it's absolutely not okay for it to fall 90%, but it just happens in this market. It's the most volatile market in the world. So, a lot of people question, how blockchain backer, how can you still remain optimistic, even though a lot of these altcoins have done moves like this, 85% pullbacks. And it's because, well, we've seen it before. I've also been through the whole bear market. I was here through 2018 through 2020. I know how bad that is. That's awful. But I also know that in bull runs in the altcoin market, these types of things happen. And so we're looking over here at Ethereum Classic and we're saying, all right, so this thing has fallen a total of 88%. We can look at Sia Coin from what happened back in 2017. We saw that this thing fell also 87.5%. And then let's take a look at the structures of what occurred to these right in here, right? What you have? You have an initial fall for Sia Coin right in here that falls down to 78% loss right in here. We've got something very similar happening over here with Ethereum Classic during its first initial fall right in here. It gets down to 81%. Then it goes on and sets a little bit of a lower low, getting down to that 88%. Same thing happens for Sia Coin, gets down to that 88%. But notice no real big retraces come in here, more of just kind of stalling out in here, double bouncing sideways, and then kind of capitulating, double bottoming down in here, right? Then it moved back up. But what was the element that was happening here at this point in the market for Sia Coin? Bitcoin's retracement was happening back in here. There was one more final push for the altcoin market, while Bitcoin was not capable of setting a new all-time high. But structurally, very similar thing happening down in here. We can kind of see where Sia Coin first pulled up before it really got a first, kind of multi-day or multi-week holdback. Something similar for like that for Ethereum Classic would be like getting back up into here, right? Getting back back up into the 70s. Pit stops along the way, but really the first knockback kind of taking place back up in there. So looking up there, high 60s, low 70s. If we kind of compare Ethereum Classic to Dogecoin, right? We're talking about the same thing happening over here with Dogecoin before it went on for its final big run up. Dogecoin lost in there 84, 85%. Same kind of story, right? First big monster fall down here, losing 71%, hovering sideways, then capitulating down for its 84%, bottoming out down in here, and then up and away it went, right? Still finding a lot of resistance here in these areas, which again, for Ethereum Classic would be like right in here, for finally working through it and going on and setting its new high, and that being the real beginning of the bear market. Same story here for Stellar Lumens, right? Stellar Lumens also did lose 88% down there in that fall, but what happened first, right? The first bigger fall, taking it back down 81%. Hey, that's a familiar number, right? That's what we've got going on over here as well. Going on, setting its new low, and then working its way back up, eventually going on to set its all-time high and finishing off the bull run. And of course, this peak came in here into Bitcoin's retracement after the top was already in. So the final blow-off happened into the retracement. And then even taking a look at Ethereum Classic's previous bull run right back in here, right? You see the first initial run-up that happens in here, just like we have happening here in 2020, 2021. A little bit more volatile in here for that first correction in here, but you can see the same things happening in here, right? Big fall takes place, gets down below it, breaks the support, attempts to back test it, not able to get through it, pulls back one more time, then finally able to crack through it, just like we have happening over here in this time period as well. And well, even if we zoom in and take a look at Elliott waves on here, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, coming back to wave 4, followed by a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even having 5 waves there within that final wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what is this thing really in general, right? When we have a 5, 3, 5 structure, it's an A, B, C correction, just like back in here, A, B, C. And again, first attempt to try to get back through that resistance level in there, not able to do it, just like we had back here, back in 2017 as well. Then finally cracks through it. And well, that's where we're potentially at right now. And again, this was the same phase as all the other altcoins that we were looking at as well. Sia Coin, Dogecoin, Stellar Lumens, all of them, even Ethereum Classic in here, same time period. And now, the point of this video is not to be like YOLO into Ethereum Classic, not by any means. All of the examples show lots of volatility happening in here. And so this thing's been in a straight line up for 4 days. It's up 100% in 4 days. That typically is when retail investors decide it's time to buy, is not in the depths of despair when they're doubting themselves, but they do it after the price action has already happened. So I'm not sitting here saying buy this. Volatility is highly likely for Ethereum Classic. But what I'm doing is trying to find the early movers and the early signals that things are going to get moving pretty soon. And that's a pretty good sign to see over there on Ethereum Classic. It's nice to see that happening with total 3 still holding that 702 Fibonacci retracement. It's holding the weekly support and holding the uptrend parallel channel. And it's one thing to just say, hey, look at all these other charts that have done this type of thing before and they've gone off into new all-time highs. But there were specific conditions that were happening in the market when those things occurred. And essentially all those tops came in for those altcoins when Bitcoin was into the retracement. After Bitcoin's top was already in, that's when they peaked and topped. So do we have a condition similar to that? Of course, my thought process is that Bitcoin has already topped and that it's working its way into its retracement and that this retracement is likely going to take some time to play out. It followed an incredible bear market fractal for 6 months straight, has since deviated away from it. Doesn't change the fact that it was a bear market fractal, was not a bull market fractal. And just because that fractal broke doesn't change anything from what we've been staring at with the inverse price charts comparing it to Bitcoin, the gold to silver ratio, and to XRP. All of them pointing to this kind of longer kind of retrace plane in here, which for Bitcoin on a non-inverted scale, looking more something like that, right? But that's the condition that I would want to be looking for to see that same type of thing happen, to see some blow-off, extravagant event happening in the altcoin market. I would be wanting to say, well, what was happening when that blow-off happened in 2018? It was the retracement of Bitcoin. We know that Bitcoin and Ethereum's market caps have both hit their 4.236 extensions. Retracements are the most likely things that happen in these situations before these markets turn over and go lower again. And this is the condition we were having in 2018 during that blow off that happened in the altcoin market. So we're matching similar conditions with Bitcoin and this current market to that happening as well. So not only have these corrections all mirrored what we've seen before, but the conditions in the market for that next leg up are also similar. And the structure on total 3 is similar to what happens when you're just completing a correction after a 5-wave structure and pulling back for an A, B, C back to the retracement levels and holding weekly support and getting ready for another leg up. And so while it's nice to see a leader happening there with Ethereum Classic, of course, we'll want to be looking for more to get some more confirmation that's what's happening. And really the main thing that I think is going to tell the story is once this Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum dominance starts breaking down, which by the time that happens, I think we'll pretty much already know. You would probably see a ton of altcoins up 20, 30, 40% when this thing is already falling. So it's just going to be kind of like, hey, you see all that green happening over there on the board? Yeah, look at this too. It's starting to go as well. So they'll kind of happen at the same time. This isn't going to be a leading indicator. This is going to happen when everything is happening. But as we know, that's one of the big things we're looking for to happen over here, and that we had a similar move back in 2017 that led to one more plunge in the Ethereum and Bitcoin dominance. And this, of course, was into Bitcoin's retracement, in which the altcoins massively outperformed Bitcoin. And we've gone into these dominance charts many times, but this is a typical bearish structure that happens in here where you have your big fall, your 2 bounces sideways, and then eventually comes capitulation. And capitulation for the Bitcoin dominance is massive outperformance by the altcoin market. So good start to the week for the market. Looks like we're moving up even more again right now in the altcoin market, and the market's starting to turn a little bit more green. So hopefully another good day in the cards for us. Otherwise, that'll be it for this one. I took yesterday off. I told you guys that on Monday that I would only be a 3-video week. I thought I had food poisoning over the weekend. Turns out I didn't. Turns out I had a stomach bug because everybody's gotten it now. So not everybody ate the same food, but everybody's gotten the same bug in my family. So yeah, something's just going around. I'm feeling better now. Did a lot of tax work yesterday. Trying to finish that up this week. Annual taxes are due in April, but I'm looking forward to that being done. Otherwise, great week. I hope that you're doing well. I want to thank you so much for watching. Again, catch me tomorrow over there in that Twitter Spaces with Linqto discussing the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Thank you to Linqto for being a sponsor of this video. The affiliate link is in the description. And otherwise, if you're looking for something to do over the course of the next couple of days, you could check out my website, which is bcbacker.com. And this is a course I put together where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, the previous altcoin market cycles, tying them all together to show how the cryptocurrency market has worked in the past. I talk about my personal exit plans in here, and I teach you how to set up your own charts and your own indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro so you could do your own charting. Talk a lot about mathematics and percentages and why those are so important to me. And the most recent market update is in there on February 28th. And you could check out all of this educational content over here on bcbacker.com. You can follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. And I want to thank you so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.